Hi, everyone. We're
Hello.
back.
Hey everyone, Tina, we're back. We're going to be talking today about a paper.
Yeah, so we're doing our translating research for teachers and the general public.
Hmm.
So there's all these golden nuggets in mathematics education papers,
Yeah.
research papers, that often doesn't get out to the general public. So we're taking on the big task of trying to get it out there. So thank you so much to everyone for coming, joining us, watching us, leaving us comments, asking for different things. We've been enjoying this whole process and so grateful for it. And for those of you who don't know us, we're mathematics education experts. So we find a lot of fun in just reading research, listening to kids talk about how they think mathematically, and working in classrooms with teachers and teaching teachers.
How to teach math, yeah, and pay attention to student thinking.
Yeah.
So we have this paper today, and we're going to bring it up. It's called Conceptualizations of Students with and Without Disabilities as Math Problem Solvers in Education Research, a Critical Review.
That was a whole mouthful of
That
stuff.
was a lot,
That was
Tina.
a long title.
So that's the paper we're reviewing today. And I guess my first thought, Tina, when you read it, what did you think? What's this paper about?
Yeah, so this paper, it's a really, really important piece, and I'm so glad to be talking about it because basically what it looks at is it looks at research around problem solving. It looks where all the research is situated for students with disabilities and without disabilities. So really where that sits. So a lot of people just think research papers are research papers, but we actually have all these different subgroups kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what this paper is about, is trying to figure out where those papers sit. And unfortunately, the news isn't good, right? So the news is that what they found was that the research with students with disabilities that actually sat in the subcategory of special education,
right?
Where the ones without really sat in mathematics education,
right?
So just mathematics education and then special education. And really, Mark, this is actually a really, really sad thing that has happened.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of ramifications for this.
Well, that's my second thought, is this idea of a ramification or the biggest takeaway for teachers. And I want to read a quote from that paper that I think is really important for us to just chat about with teachers.
Yeah, because it's a really, really big deal for us as researchers to come to know this and to read this paper and go, wow, I can't believe that that's what's going on, right, Mark?
Yeah.
And so we've picked out just a really important quote because we're always about translating and finding these little nuggets. And we think that this quote might actually bring it home and let people know that this is a really big thing, a big, big deal, that this is where the research is happening.
So here's the quote. Assumption that certain learners need rigid, narrow pedagogies while others can handle real meaning making is the core assumption that needs to be challenged.
So, Mark, again, a big, big mouthful, right?
Yes.
Thank goodness we're here to help people translate that, because what does that mean?
What does it actually mean? What are they saying to us?
Yeah. So this is really so important. So basically what it's saying is that those with disabilities, they deserve the same kind of instruction as those without disabilities. And the kind of instruction that they really deserve, Mark, and that every child deserves, is the things that we've been talking about in this, on this channel, right?
That's right.
And so it's all about students thinking and really focusing on students thinking. This paper has thinking all over the place, right?
That's
if you just do a Command F, it's thinking everywhere.
Yeah.
So what does that mean in reality, though? What would that look like in classrooms? So what it shouldn't look like is students that haven't been identified with disabilities. It shouldn't mean that they're getting this really rich instruction like we've been talking about. Okay, if you see, or even 2 times 5, right? Don't just memorize the 10. You can see 2 groups of 5. You can see them coming together. All those things that we've been talking about.
So that's not just reserved for some students, and then others get this really sort of narrow view, they said. Narrow view. And what would that narrow view mean, Tina?
So this is what we've been trying to advocate. And now we're really advocating this for all students, especially because of this research.
Yeah.
That all students should be able to get to not just receive the direct instructions. So, you put out a times table on the board and you're like, 2 times 5 is 10.
Right.
3 times 5 is 15, right?
Right.
And getting them to memorize these things.
Or fill out the worksheet with like.
Or fill it out.
Yeah.
So
that where there's only, it said the word rigid too.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that there would just be like, it wouldn't focus on thinking, I suppose.
Yeah, it would focus more on memorizing than thinking, than asking kids, just a mental math question and going, okay, how do you see it in your mind, right?
Right.
And so this research is really about how this is good, and we should be doing this for all students, regardless if they have disabilities. With disabilities or without disabilities. So this is really important research. We're so happy to get this out there.
Yeah.
So teachers, make sure that you don't have, these strict explicit teaching for one group and then this beautiful sort of, really looking at how they're thinking and seeing things in their mind for the other.
Yes.
It's good for everyone. Let's do it for everyone.
All right.
Take care, everyone. Thanks again for sharing and following, and we'll see you next time.